As the Bitcoin correction continues to move onwards and forwards, today we will be looking at some very specific and tangible areas on price action that, if met, would denote that the crypto correction is effectively over and it's time to be praying to Boolah Jesus once again. With that said, welcome back to EllioTrades channel. I'm your host Krown again today with some good old TA, as we say. And I want to first explain the relevancy of this video and why we're focusing on Bitcoin. And maybe we'll go through some quick altcoins as well if time does allow. But we're doing this because as long as Bitcoin is correcting, it's not very wise in my experience to be looking at any specific altcoin as likely to make a major move opposite of Bitcoin. Now, does this happen on a one-off basis? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the market's massive, so there's definitely going to be a few coins that go their individualistic ways here and there. But in general, Bitcoin sets the tone for the rest of the market. On that note, if you are interested in a daily Bitcoin analysis alongside some live stream fun action with some altcoin analysis as well, I do have my own channel where I do exactly that. If you might find that valuable, please do consider checking out in the link description below. Cool. All right, so let's jump into it right now, and let's start it off right here with the chart of the day, if you will. If you're perceptive or if you have eyes, you've noticed that there's a bunch of vertical lines on the chart right now. What do they all represent? They all represent the same area on the daily stochastic momentum oscillator that has been hit several times, specifically on CME. This is not the same for spot price action, specifically on CME, that has denoted some major lows for Bitcoin. Now, you'll notice that even within the context of a macro downtrend, which we're actually not in right now, we're not in a weekly downtrend just yet, although, you know, it's getting pretty damn close. $40,000 is going to be the major area for that. But even within the context of a major downtrend, these reads were still met with some very impressive bounces. So I just want to kind of show it off right here. What I'm referring to is all of the moves around this horizontal green line. So there's only a few of them in CME's history, actually. And yes, it can go a little bit further below. That's okay. But within this region, we do see some pretty nice bounces and some even major lows come about. So I'm just going to pull out a few here. I don't want to go through all of them, but again, even in a macro downtrend, this signature over here was met with about a more than 50% move to the upside. And of course, it got the macro low in December 2018, January 2019 right here. Got this nice bounce before the old flu dump, of which the flu dump it did get as well, as you did, or it did fire off a signal going all the way from about 5,000 to, you know, where we're at right now. And the most latest signal was actually over here on the bear trap that we saw in July. So with that in mind, we are once again within that region. And what's most important about this and why this one is the chart of the day for today is because we can actually forecast what price action we need to close at today, specific to CME. That would force another cross back onto the upside for stochastic momentum. And that would be 49,500. Again, specific for CME, which is closing the day in 7 hours, 49 minutes, and well, 48 minutes and 57 seconds now. So keep an eye on that. Of course, spot price action is going to be relatively similar to that as well, but there is a slight premium on CME versus spot price action, as it is a futures contract after all. So be aware of that. Now let's take this one step further over here. And I want to line this up by first explaining the relevancy of all the major areas. If you've been watching these videos for the last week, then you already know where this is, but I want to briefly go through it. And basically it is this. It's the same thing that we were looking at before. Bitcoin, as long as we're below our last rejective high on the CME gap fill at $52,000, nothing interesting to the upside. No talks about Boolah Jesus there. Now, by the same token, Bitcoin, on the short-term timeframes, I would not get super bearish just yet here, even though this is not, you know, the most healthy going on right here, until Bitcoin closes a 4-hour candlestick below 46,500 on spot price action or $47,000 on CME. If one of those two is met, or they're probably gonna happen at the same time, if they are met, I do look for Bitcoin to trade down somewhere between $43 to $45,000 and try for a low there. Long term, where does everything change around and I become rather bearish on Bitcoin? Well, that's below $40,000 right here. Why? Quite simply put, because that is your last weekly high or low. The trend would be essentially in limbo at that point, as we'd have our first lower low since 2019 actually. So that'd be rather significant. Of course, we don't have a lower high just yet, but We'll get to that bridge when we cross it or whatever the hell that saying is. Anyways, let's go back on here. And I think we briefly touched on this. There's also one other major area that I want to be aware of. So whilst $52,000 is a very big one, of course, Bitcoin above there, personally speaking, I do think I'd be willing to call a major low in this area right here, probably our next weekly higher low, and, you know, glory times ahead once again. Again, probably not going to happen all on the same day, as we'll go over soon enough, but the $54,000 region is the more technically important structural region because it is one, the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement, and also our structural breakdown level coming in from, of course, October and more recently in November on that breakdown. So back above there, I feel very comfortable looking for Bitcoin to move back up towards 59, 60,000 bucks. You know, it's going to take some time, obviously, but ultimately that would look a lot better for the bigger picture for, you know, having a bullish Q1 of 2022. 2022, that's what I mean to say. Now I want to take this one step further here yet again. So on the 12-hour time frame, and this is actually on the 6-hour all the way up to the daily, we do see that we have a bit of a falling wedge going on right here, which is typically or statistically spoken, it is a bullishly resolved formation. And actually something that does matter a lot more on the RSI oscillator in my experience. It has a lot higher of a degree of hit rate if it's present there rather than price action. In fact, on price action, I really don't care too much about formations. I'm really like not a pattern trader at all. Look, I know that it can be done. I have a few friends who are primarily pattern traders and they're very successful, but in general, most patterns in my humble opinion are Jesus toast. No offense to the Jesus toast believers out there. Fair enough. You know, everyone's entitled to whatever they want to do. And hey, you know, if you're profitable trading the way that you do, more power to you, seriously. But in this case, I do respect this formation right here. And why I'm specifically calling it out now is because we can forecast, just like the stochastic momentum, the price that would be needed in order for Bitcoin to close above in order to resolve this as a falling wedge. And I think I've actually already gone through it over here, but let's just say it's like 44, okay? So I'm actually gonna go in over here. And let's see, do I have it? Yeah, I already have it at 44. It's going to be the control bear zone level. So that is this right here, which is 50,129 and a half it's like 50,130 on the next closing basis. So that's going to be your daily closing basis as well. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't need to clear above it today. And of course, we can follow up on this on the days to come if people are interested. But if that condition is met, again, above 50,000, 100, basically 100 essentially, then that's going to look very good for an early indication of a breakout right here. It would not be a death sentence to not have that happen on the next closure, but it would obviously be, you know, better than not to have it there alongside stochastic momentum, which we looked at earlier, which would obviously be confirmed even lower than that. So that is a good sign. Okay, cool. So we spoke about that. We spoke about a little bit of hopium. Understand though, as long as Bitcoin's basically below 52 and above basically 47, not really much happening right there. And it is, well, still a downtrend. It doesn't look, to be quite honest, doesn't look too good. Okay, cool. Anyways, and we do have a drive of potentially phantom bullish divergence going on right there. So there's a bit of hopium for you. Definitely possible, but I want to see those areas actually taken out. Now, we're going to go make, as we do have some, oh no, there's one last thing. Sorry, there's one last thing. Okay, so I want to also focus on, you know, how long is this likely to take? So I went over a statistical analysis of the last major highs and lows in Bitcoin, and a general sort of knowledge is that your distributive phases typically equate to your accumulation phases in length of time, as the old, or it's not the old saying it goes, but the old like ancient knowledge essentially is that the longer that you consolidate, the bigger that the breakout or breakdown is implied to be. And so in order to resolve it on the side, you kind of need like an equal one as well. For example, our last major distributive phase was over here in March, April, May, about 60 days. I did measure this out exactly to the day on this top that Bitcoin put in, and then a couple weeks of trend to the downside, some fun action. And then what do we get? We get 3 months or 63 days, sorry, about 2 months, a little bit over 2 months, 63 days of sideways action right here, and then big bear trap with price action moving on to the upside for the next few weeks. And then same thing over here, 14 days distribution at the top. Okay, and on the other side, we resolve it with our next higher low. Takes about 10 days on this one, technically 11 if I wanted to be super exact, but I did put 10 days there, just because, it depends where you kind of judge the breakout. I would say it's actually right here, but fair enough. Anyways, our last high that Bitcoin put in currently the all-time high took about 28 days right there. Okay, interesting. Well, how long would we expect this next accumulation phase to take on over here before Bitcoin has some bust in action to the upside once again, assuming that it does move to the upside, which there's no talks about that as long as below $52,000 again, even though there are some interesting indications going on here. Well, probably looking at a month. And as of right now, we are just at about a week. So this could very easily take some time. And again, could that come out with another move to the downside anywhere between 43 and 45? Yeah, absolutely could. I only look at Bitcoin as in big trouble long term if it starts to, again, take out the last weekly high or low. Until then, presumably, I'm looking at something like that, or let's go to a weekly here. I'm looking at something like this, where Bitcoin is putting in higher lows. Hey, stop that. Putting in higher lows like this, same highs like this, and this is my favorite Jesus toast pattern, by the way. This would be called an ascending triangle, and it's just implying that buyers getting more aggressive. That's all that it is, really. And we'd be looking at something like this, where Bitcoin comes down and tests it, boom, and then, busting on through. All that good busting action. Okay, cool. So we are 11 minutes into this video. I wanted to quickly go through some altcoins here. We're just going to rapid fire them, and I'm going to go good, bad, like as far as areas go. Ethereum, daily closing low below 39.30, bad. Above 45.20, good. Cardano, bad, just bad. But here's the hopium. Look, back above 148 on a daily closing basis, good. Looking for a nice rally after that. Closing below 1.25, basically just not doing anything different than what it's done for the last couple of months, bad. Do we have another one over here? Solana, closing below 175, bad. Looking for big moves down towards 155 to 160, if that would happen. Going back above 230, good. And this would be kind of like the bullish hopium right here as well. AVAX, this one, let's go to a daily actually. And what do we have? Again, closing below about 79.5, bad. Looking for big moves down towards, mid to low 60s, I imagine. Well, probably more like upper mid 60s or so. Anyways, closing back above 96.5, good, very good. And again, this is hopium right there, but fair enough. Do we want to do one more? Do I even have one more? Actually, I think I'm running out of altcoins here. We did those three. Is there any other ones that are of interest right here? Sorry. Oh yeah, Matic. Let's look at Matic. Matic. Actually, this one's probably just one of the generally best ones. We spoke about a weekly breakout coming into this week last week, and that's already happened. I'm long-term bullish on this. I only invalidate this one below 180 on a daily. Until then, this just looks at another higher low right here. Yeah, hidden bullish evidence should come in as well. Be looking for this one to continue onwards and upwards over the next few weeks. Hit our major target at 260, so that's fine. Long term, still looking at $3 plus over the next for the next month and a half or so here. Anyways, but again, be aware of where the invalidation is, and I think that's a good place to leave off this video. I'm curious if you like this style of analysis or not, this sort of rapid fire. So let me know in the comment section below. Please be very vocal. I encourage you to comment, even if it's like very mean and not good, because I will look at that as constructive feedback. And also, if you do find some value in this content, maybe consider liking it as well. All right, I'm gonna be signing off now. Take care, have a great Friday, and see you soon.